Hi, I'm Andrea Metcalf. I'm the editorial director at OffsiteDirt.com. And Offsite Dirt is a bunch of conversations, trends, events, and educational events hosted by the most superstar female in the business, my sister, Audree Grubesic.
Oh, thank you, Andrea. I'm so glad that we decided to do this together. I think that these voices, the experts in the industry, finding out about modular, volumetric, containers, passive house, all these exciting new construction and building sciences that are happening are now out there for people to hear about.
Well, and I mean, for the general public, I don't know anything about most of this stuff. This is my first, I didn't even know what offsite construction meant. I'm like, what does that mean? And you at least educate people to understand off-site means that there's parts that are pre-assembled before they come to the house. So in the old construction, you would dig a hole, you put posts in the ground, they'd hammer, you'd have all these people, there'd be garbage on site, took a lot of time, a lot of expense, and off-site changes that. So I want you to tell me, with your experience now in actually doing and building off-site, why you love it so much.
I love it because there's so many benefits. Like you just stated, we have less labor force getting into the industry. We have less skilled labor getting into the industry, but makes it even harder for construction to be such a great and quality product. We have more material waste on site. We have more disruption on site. All of these things are what helps us to actually get the solution. So when you are building offsite, you're actually building in a manufacturing plant. All your products and supplies and materials are there. Your labor is there constructing the boxes, constructing the elements, constructing the kit of parts, let's say. And the reason why that's exciting is it's indoor. It's environmentally in a better situation.
You don't have to freeze
you
working
don't
outside.
Have to freeze. I know, I love it.
Not that I've done any really outside construction work other than like in our backyard in the sandbox over the years. But
yeah, but you've built houses and you've seen it, and you know how long. Speed to getting it completed. When you have two simultaneously things working. When you're working in offsite construction, you're also doing your permitting, you're getting your foundation and excavation done, and all of a sudden your product comes to the site, you're able to assemble it, you're able to make everything connected to it, and then you're able to actually finish the project several months earlier than you would a traditional built product.
So here's a good example. I've had in my lifetime 2 different homes built. We did the architectural drawings, then we hired the construction. And my first home that we built had 2 columns, the big arch, and then the arch window, and then the garage was on the left. And all of a sudden I came on the site one day and I'm like, where's the pillar for the other front door? Oh, they made a mistake. We had architectural drawings and there was this huge mistake on the whole design of the house, and it was too late. Nobody cared. And then the other one that I had is with modular, that can't happen because what I hear from you is it's precision. It's engineered drawings that are doing these offsite and replicating them. And it's not that everyone has to have the same looking house either. And I think people get that confused.
Right, and I think the other thing is that it's all about the pre-construction, the pre-development team. Everything happens in the beginning, right? So we put all these plans together, and then there's checks and balances. It's getting checked in the factory. It's getting inspected. All those same details that went on a traditional build site are all already happening inside the factory, so we're assembling it. Right? It's from one end to the other, checks and balances, inspections, until we get to that finished product, and then we're able to ship that product to the site, install it on the foundation the exact same way, and in less time, less disruption to the site, less material waste, all these amazing benefits, but nobody's talking about it or heard about it. So I'm glad we're doing it.
I know, we're talking about it. Back when I was in high school, there was trades classes. And today there's technology classes. So there aren't the same construction people, plumbers, as we call it, MEPs, mechanical engineering and plumbing, people who are there to be able to do these jobs. So modular is the way of the future.
Absolutely. Even if modular might not be the solution, there's panelization, there's insulated concrete forms, there's some form of your construction project that's going to have to be off-site because there's just not enough people to be able to do the project.
Okay, so let's break this down a little bit. Modular is kind of like an IKEA project, and then panelization What is that?
That's more panels. So that is actually a surface that's created, a wall system, a roof system, a floor system that comes to the site and it's assembled. So you're assembling all the walls in a faster amount of time.
So is it like the Lego bricks are already built in place and you just bring that Lego whole wall over? You know, you kept stacking them, and you built a little wall?
It's kind of like framing the whole project in pieces. So the pieces are all coming together exactly like you're saying. When I think of Legos more like modular. They're boxes that are completely finished in the factory, and then those boxes are actually all shipped to the site. They're assembled, connected together to make the project.
Okay, so we had panelization, and then you had, what was the next thing? Volumetrics.
Volumetrics is just a bigger form of modular, which means that there's more volume that are happening in the factory.
So these are like multifamily units,
right?
Big housing, hotels, schools.
Which is really interesting because one of the areas that is expanding the biggest is in hospitality. We went through this lull of building, and now they're finding hotels. One of the largest and tallest hotels is getting built in New York City. The reason that
New York City!
I know, crazy. But I think the reason too is that it's not only efficiencies and the quick to speed, but building sites are getting more compact. It's harder to build on
you don't have any alleys in New York, so garbage is everywhere. So I can't even imagine a building project in New York that wouldn't be modular, because where do you put the stuff?
Right, and the great thing is you have the crane, you have the boxes come in, the crane picks it up and it places it on the next level and the next level and the next level. So seeing that happen as quickly as it can and tying in the entire building and the MEPs like you were talking about, which makes me so proud of you. I love it. So tying in those different components inside the boxes and to streamline that system allows us to be more efficient.
Well, you're doing a great job. You're educating people. You're getting deep dive into, architectural people you've had on. We've interviewed. You've had technology people who are building software. You've had large factory owners. Modular or off-site factory components. This is, they're expanding so quickly.
Absolutely. The industry, I started in this only 5 years ago. And from where I started with doing my own residential projects and starting with only 5 factories and now expanding it to thousands, there's hundreds of factories out there. And I think the other thing that makes it so exciting is this has all been happening overseas. This has been happening in Japan. It's been happening in China. It's been happening in Europe. It's